Good morning. I'm Portia Connor, and I have the pleasure of being the Early College of Forsyth College Liaison. I welcome everyone to graduation 2016. Over the last 4 years, I've had the pleasure of getting to know the senior class very well. They are a hardworking, great group of students, and I could not be any more proud of them. I can honestly say knowing this group of students has been a joy, and they are leaving me with many happy memories. I have been impressed with their drive and determination. We've laughed together, been frustrated together, and had a good time over the last 4 years. But class of 2016, they've made it. Everyone, please join me in welcoming the Early College of Forsyth graduating class of 2016. Thank you. Please remain standing.
I would now like to introduce Stutia Gumkar with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Joel Welch, Vice President of Instructional Services for Forsyth Technical Community College, with a welcome.
Graduating students, platform guests, faculty, family, and friends, I'm Joel Welch, the Vice President for Instructional Services at Forsyth Tech. It is indeed a pleasure for me to be here today to congratulate you, our early college students, in achieving this milestone in your career. As the Chief Academic Officer for the college, I'm especially proud of the accomplishments of our early college students. Completing the requirements for the high school diploma and working towards an associate degree at the same time is a very difficult task, and one that requires dedication and hard work. I also want to recognize the family members and our faculty for their work and support of our students. Without your support, today's celebration would not be possible. On behalf of our college administration and our Board of Trustees, I commend our graduating students, and I look forward to seeing many of you tonight as you receive your associate's degree. Congratulations.
We will now have Mr. Robert Barr, Vice Chair of the Winston-Salem Forsyth County School Board, with a welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you guys are doing well. Are you? Good, good, good. Listen, on behalf of the Winston-Salem Forsyth County School Board, I would like to say congratulations, and we're proud of you, and we are expecting some big things for your future. And let me just kind of give you just a quick thought. I'm a pastor, preacher. They told me, Robert Barr, don't preach, so it's going to be real short and sweet. You know what? When you graduate, you're going to face tons of decisions. How do you make the right decision? Is there a formula? And this is what I've learned. Number one, you need to be aware of an internal meter in your heart. And what's that internal meter? It's just simply the sense of fulfillment and peace in your heart when you make a decision. I ask myself every day, and I want you to ask yourself this question every day: do I have joy and peace about my decisions? Now, when I graduated, and some of you are going to laugh and say, I don't remember that year. That's a long time ago. But when I graduated in 1983, that's a long time, is it not? A lot of you probably weren't born. A lot of you probably weren't born. But when I graduated in 1983, I was excited just like you guys. And I decided on a major. But you know what? When I decided on that major, I didn't have that joy, did not have that peace, did not have that sense of fulfillment. But I changed in the midst of that major, and as soon as I made that change, because I was drawn to a particular major, which was education, all of a sudden I've got that sweet feeling. I found my sweet spot. I found that joy. And can you believe this? I found joy teaching third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders, sixth graders, and seventh graders instead of going into accounting. I don't think I'm the accountant type of guy. And just in closing, this is what I like to say to you guys: let the sense of fulfillment and peace in your heart make your decisions about your life. And if you'll follow your heart, if you'll follow that peace, I guarantee you, you'll be on the right path. Once again, on the behalf of Winston-Salem Forsyth County School Board, congratulations, and we're so proud of you. Give them a hand clap.
I'd like to now recognize some special guests. We have Dr. Emery, Superintendent of Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools; Carol Montague Davis, Assistant Superintendent of Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools; Kimberly Bryant, Director of Educational Partnerships from Forsyth Technical Community College. Do I have any elected officials who would like to stand and be recognized? Do I have Board of Trustees members for Forsyth Technical Community College? Thank you. I see a couple of Forsyth Tech vice presidents. And any Forsyth Technical instructors? And my favorite, do we have any early college alumni? Thank you. It gives me great pleasure to introduce your class of 2016 President, Maria Cruzat.
Good afternoon, everyone. Members of the board, faculty, friends, parents, relatives, guests, seniors. It is an honor to be standing in front of you today, accepting the Academy Award for Best Motion Picture. Okay, this is not my graduation speech, but I must say this sure beats all the class announcements I've made. My name is Maria Cruzat, and I had the joy of being the class of 2016's senior class president. Thank you all for coming to celebrate this monumental moment of our lives. This is much deserved after years of hard work. Last night, I had an epiphany. I think it finally hit me. I don't know if it was Angelo's reading of the early college tales or everyone's individual recognition, but it hit me. We were actually graduating ECF, the place we spent 4 years growing in. Well, for some people like me, you stayed under 5'5", but that's besides the point. Yesterday, I realized we were actually graduating tomorrow, and suddenly I had another epiphany. Wow, I should probably actually start writing my graduation speech. So yesterday, at around 10 p.m., I sat down, opened my laptop, and while I'd say I actually started typing, I realized I was hungry, so I went downstairs to the kitchen to grab some cereal. But then I started typing. With great honor today, I'm here to recap the remnants of the last 4 years. But first, graduates, I'd like you to take a look around. And I don't mean at all the empty chairs, but look around at your classmates. Think of all the new friends you've made, and maybe the friends you've lost. Think of all the memories you've made, and what comes to mind as you look at each person. As I stand before you today, I must say, when I look at the class of 2016, I think, whew, class of 2016 looking good. The glow up is real. But really, think about all the laughs, all the tears, all the embarrassing moments, all the highs, all the lows. Take it all in. Think about it. We've made it. Congratulations, class of 2016. We've made it to our ultimate goal, graduation. Without further ado, let's take a look back on these past 4 years. It started with a 1-week freshman orientation. I still remember doing this college scavenger hunt, the awkward human knot team bonding exercise where we all held hands and tried to unknot ourselves, the sermon on not committing the Silas Creek Shuffle, and lunch at the grill where the sophomores and upperclassmen welcomed us. I remember the first day of geometry class where we all had to fill out a chart with who had done what in their lives. I remember the awkward silence of those first few days. But I also remember the funny moments, like creating and then watching a campaign video about how rabid ponies were going to take over the world. I remember when we decided to analyze the painting on the first floor of tech by the stairwell after taking our college ID pictures. It was at that moment that I realized you guys were pretty darn awesome. I think we literally looked at that painting for 30 minutes and analyzed everything about the man's life. From rapping hard to parts of the Cell song, cells were made of organelles. Try to pull a fast one, the cytoplasm gels. The nucleus takes over, controlling everything. The party don't stop till the membrane blocks the scene. Which reaffirmed the fact that rapping was not my thing. To building geometry bugs, where I realized how I probably shouldn't do things last minute, but looks like I haven't learned much since at 5 a.m. graduation day, I'm still writing my speech. But then came second semester. We read To Kill a Mockingbird for Mr. Green's English 1 class. Well, most of us. From Mr. Green's exams, book presentations, and sharing our journals, to getting locked out of his class for being a second late, we all learned that Mr. Green was not someone you wanted to mess with. And as I stood out in the hallway with Canaria and Dylan, because they ended up being late too, I realized that these next 4 years weren't going to be easy. And as we all learned, it wasn't. But we felt great. And not just because we realized for the next 4 years, we'd be getting free pizza during Fall Fest and Spring Fling. We felt great because we knew somehow that the next 4 years, as hard as it would mold us into the person we wanted to be. Then came sophomore year, where we realized how much we needed Mrs. Daniels' bunny trail stories to de-stress us. We had more confidence since we had survived 1 year of ECF already. We dressed up as our favorite characters for Spirit Week and either sang along or rolled our eyes every time the song Happy played. We learned the value of writing our thoughts and feelings in our daybook, but most importantly, valued how we didn't have any class tests in English too. Shout out to Ms. Morrow. We started getting our license, and before we knew it, didn't know what a time restriction was. Then came junior year, the year things really became difficult, and teamwork was a must. We published our own book, spent a year with Miss Smith where we visited the Civil Rights Museum and threw pennies at one another, attended prom and duct taped Miss Cook to the wall at the Olympics. We strengthened friendships, parted some, and created new ones. For some, junior year was the hardest year yet. I'd have to say for me, the senior year was the hardest, not just because of the assignments and such, but I wasn't ready to leave the people I had grown to love. To describe an important part of about senior year, I'd like to share a story that I found online. Imagine that you're a single guy, and you decided it's time to start thinking about getting married. But you're still young, you don't want to rush into anything, so you spend years trying to find the perfect girl. Every chance you get, you travel around the city, the state, and even the country just to meet new people. Some you like more than others. Some had different interests, while some partied too much. But finally, after all your searching, you think you found the perfect one. They say you know when she's the one, and when you meet this girl, you knew. She's incredible, she's fun, smart, everything you want in a woman. And you decide to propose. But you only get one shot and you can't mess it up, so you spend months agonizing on how you're going to do it. What are you going to say to her? You set a deadline for yourself, so you can't put it off forever. And as the deadline approaches, you begin to get nervous. Are you good enough? It feels as though everything you've been doing your whole life has been leading up to this moment. Finally, the deadline is here. You're so nervous. She's way out of your league. Is the ring big enough? How many mistakes have you made so far? Is it too late to go back? Then it's over. You've submitted your proposal, and there's nothing more you can do. She looks at you, and she says, let me get back to you in like 4 months. That's pretty much what applying to college is like. And you know what? She might say no. But guess what you didn't tell her? You proposed to a bunch of backup chicks in case she rejected you. And they're all begging to come near you instead. Whether you're taking a gap year, attending a local college, or going far, I know that you have the strength, motivation, and courage within you to be fruitful wherever you go. ECF prepared us for this moment. Among us are artists, dancers, scientists, advocates, great debaters, future doctors, best friends, entrepreneurs, leaders. Though this feels like the end, it's just the beginning of the path you were called to walk on. A few years from now, we're going to look back at our accomplishments and all the ridiculous things we did. We'll all probably laugh at all the stuff we've done and say, well, we were in high school. Some moments we'll want to relive, while others will want to change. Class of 2016, I encourage you all to make the most of your life. It can be so easy to believe the lie that you aren't good enough. But when you find yourself doubting how far you can go, just remember how far you've come. Remember everything you faced, all the battles you've won, all the fears you've overcome. I've been pushing off doing my speech because as ready as I feel to go to college, I know that means leaving the familiar, but that's okay. I say this without hesitation, class of 2016 is hands down the best class ever. We are a family. It's so hard to put into words what you all mean to me, but these past 4 years have been amazing. I'm truly blessed to say that I graduated with 43 friends in a place with such caring teachers and faculty. I thank God for all the blessings He's given us, and I give all the glory to Him. Class of 2016, thank you for looking out for one another, and thank you personally for being there for me. Knowing that you are loved and cared for by those around you is a wonderful feeling. It's been an honor to serve this class. I'm going to miss you all so much. Congratulations, graduates, we made it. And before I leave this stage, I think we're gonna make it a tradition. My sister took a selfie with her graduating class, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a selfie with you guys, though I don't have a selfie stick, but that's okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you again.
We'll now have Chris Hinton, graduating student of the class of 2016, to introduce our keynote speaker.
You guys, we finally made it. Let's give it up one time for class of 2016. It seems like just yesterday that we were bummed out that we were missing 2 weeks of our summer, but who could have imagined that 4 years later, we would be sitting right here, right now, in this moment. Crazy, right? This afternoon, I've been given the esteemed privilege of introducing our guest speaker. A graduate of North Carolina State University, he received his Bachelor's of Science degree in mathematics, going on to further his education at the University of Maryland, earning his master's degree. He then attended Wake Forest University to secure a certification to teach mathematics in North Carolina, going on to do further graduate work at North Carolina State University. He's taught mathematics for 32 years at both high school and private institutions, including the North Carolina School of Science and Math. And for the last 24 years, he has taught at Forsyth Technical Community College, serving as a department chair and now currently a full-time mathematics professor. It is with great pleasure that I introduce to some and present to others this eccentric, energetic, loving husband, father, and teacher, Mr. Dale Boger.
Thank you, Chris. Dear Winston-Salem South County School Administration, Superintendent Dr. Emery, Early College of Forsyth Principal Fran Cook, platform guests, ECF faculty and staff, parents, grandparents, siblings, aunts, cousins, and most important, Early College of Forsyth students. Welcome to the 2016 graduation of Early College of Forsyth. This is your time, and we have assembled here today especially for you. You have reached a milestone in your life. It started 12 years ago. You were just 6 years old. Can you believe it? Probably your first milestone was you started crawling. Then you started walking. And then you started talking. And you haven't stopped. And then it was time to start school. And here you are yet embarking upon another milestone in your life, your high school graduation. You have earned this honor. Congratulations to you, early college graduates. I've had the distinct pleasure and honor of teaching a number of you in your college math classes. For those of you who I did teach, I really do count it a privilege to have taught you. I count the experience as my gain, and I hope you don't count it as your loss. I am suddenly having a flashback one day in the class. I walked into the class, and there was a mock wedding taking place. A justice of the peace, a.k.a. Chris Hinton, was there performing the ceremony. Some might think, well, they should cut out that nonsense. I'm thinking, it's just a group of high school students having fun. Go for it. Then I began to think in all of this, how do I suppose I should bring in some trigonometry to all of this, matrimony? Sometimes you just have to weave into your lesson plan what is on their minds. Parents, you really do have an amazing group of students here. Last year, near the end of February, I began to think this is an historic year for Pi Day, once in a century, March 14, 2015. We've got to do something. I brought up the idea to the Calculus 1 early college class, as well as in my other classes, and they were all excited and all over it. You should have seen them work, heading up the planned Pi Day activities and just working together as a team to make it a fun-filled day. I could not have done it without them. If it were not for them, we would have had to rename the day Splat Day. They were the ones who made it happen. Oh, and by the way, many thanks go out to Mrs. Talley, Dylan's mom. I was very remiss in thanking her. What a better way to thank her publicly. She made enough pies to feed 50 people. Incredible indeed. So by now you have read what I titled the speech, Testing Your Limits and Going Beyond Them. I know your students would expect me to derive something about math into my speech. One begins their study of calculus by studying limits. Why? It is the foundation of all of what one learns in 3 courses of calculus. I tell students that the rest of the material in the text solely depends upon this concept of a limit. Without it, everything crumbles, or as they say in German, das ist kaputt. Nothing else matters, because everything in calculus depends upon that concept. But the idea of testing your limits is not new. Perhaps when you were little, you were tempted to touch the eye on a stove, and you were told, do not touch that eye. But you did get closer and closer to that eye. Oh, I'm not going to touch it. But you got closer and closer anyway. And you made contact with that eye, and you got burnt. I had a similar experience that I vividly remember when I was really young. There were electrical outlets on the wall. I thought they looked like interesting contraptions. I proceeded to grab me a fork and test my limits. Why not? There were holes there. My fork had prongs. It seemed to be a perfect fit. That day I learned about electricity. No doubt you have had opportune times over your 12 years for testing your limits and then moving forward. When you started early college at Forsyth, you were already in the process of testing your limits. Can I do what everyone else does in high school does in 4 years, but on top of that also get my 2-year associate's degree? Well, you did. And not long from now, in a few hours, you will receive your 2-year degree conferred. You tested those limits and you went beyond them. What am I asking you to do? Your foundation has been set. As you leave here, I'm asking you to go out and further test your limits and then go beyond them. Go out and seek a world that will allow you to do just that. Without question, some of you will be in testing your limits and get burnt or even zapped. But that's okay. That's part of life. Everything will not always be rosy. You can play it safe and not have to worry about possible consequences, but on the upside, look at what might happen because you did test those limits and then see what you can do. Your dreams can come true if you just take the time to think about what you want in life. What about the education that you have spent the last 12 years achieving? Carl Friedrich Gauss, one of the greatest mathematicians of all time, said, "It is not knowledge, but the act of learning, not the possession of it, but the act of getting there, which grants the greatest enjoyment." Of all the history, geography, sociology, art, music, anthropology, archaeology, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, political science, English, and literature, and foreign languages all contribute to a keen awareness of the beauty, complexity, and diversity of the world in which you live. Why would anybody not want to study such things? Certainly you have said, or even heard someone say, when are we ever going to use this? Isn't this what a calculator is for? It is a mistake to even think for a millisecond that the only things that one should learn are those things that are useful, or to use a device that can be done just as easily with your brain. If all you know is what is useful, then you are useless in every situation that you may encounter, in every new situation. Even if you don't ever use that particular concept, you're learning to problem solve in many different arenas and be successful when you don't think you could do it. Ask the athlete how he benches. Almost always he has some inflated number with which to respond. Ask him, when is he ever going to use that? Do you think that you'll ever need to bench a car? Jock, isn't that what jacks are for? Well, the brain is a muscle, and just like your body needs to be worked out, so does your brain, both sides of it. Your brain doesn't get the workout it needs by just sitting this one out and not using it to its fullest potential, by not doing something hard to challenge it. I've heard on more than one occasion, my head hurts. My response is good. That's okay. That muscle in your head needs to be exercised too. On Tuesday evening, Jake came by to bring this piece of paper. which reads, "The human brain, best calculator on the market." Thanks for teaching us to use our brain. From Jake, Vicente, Nick, Jonathan, and Tiamat, esteemed students of my Calc 3 class this spring. Surprisingly, he found me cleaning out my office, and I know that comes as a real shock to those who have seen my office. That can mean a variety of things. Well, perhaps he was fired. Perhaps he is quietly retiring. Perhaps the college is doing some painting and renovation, which is the case. Actually, I believe it was a ploy to get them to clean up my office. It worked. Interestingly enough, in cleaning up, I ran across a folder, just opened it, and on top, I saw a member of the first graduating class of early college from 4 years ago. Thought that was very fitting. Well, your education has been broad enough to prepare you for the infinite challenges, well, approaching infinity, that you face in your life. Use your mind and not your senses. That has been the goal of your education, and using your mind and not just your senses has been the goal of your education, and will continue to be your help from the perspective that you should see the world. What are some of the words of inspiration that I can leave with you? Take your course of study and be competent and do well. Learn your vocation to the best of your ability. You want to be the purveyor of truth. This reminds me of a story, and it has to do with Pi Day last year. Towards the end of the second of 3 sections of the House Bill 246 in the Indiana legislature back in 1897, it stated that the ratio of the diameter and the circumference is 5/4, to 4. Well, for many, many centuries, we have known that pi is the ratio of the circumference to the diameter of a circle. And the ratio of 4 to 5/4 is 3.2. It's a nice round number, but it's a wrong number. Now, what were they thinking? I can change pi, change it to be 3.2? I don't think so. I should add the bill was introduced by a physician in the local community who persuaded his state representative to introduce it. And during the debate on the bill, he was quoted as saying he knew nothing of what was in the bill. Where have we heard that before? But introduced it at the request of the physician. Let's again be the purveyor of truth. Live your life with no regrets. Another story. An elderly carpenter was ready to retire. He told his employer, contractor, of his plans to leave the house, building business, and live a more leisurely life with his wife, enjoying his extended family. He would miss the paycheck for sure, but he needed to retire. They could get by. The contractor was sorry to see his good worker go and asked if he could just build one more house as a personal favor. The carpenter said yes, but in time it was easy to see that his heart was no longer in his work. He resorted to shoddy workmanship, and he used inferior materials. It was an unfortunate way to end his career. So when the carpenter finished his work and the builder came to inspect the house, the contractor handed the front door key to the carpenter. "This is your house," he said. "This is my gift to you." Oh, what a shock. What a shame. If he had only known he was building his own house, he would have done it all so differently. Now he had to live in the home that he had built none too well. So it is with us. We build our lives in a distracted way, reacting rather than acting, willing to put up less than the best. At important points, we do not give the job our best effort. Then, with a shock, we look at the situation we have created and find that now we're living in the house we have built. If we had realized that, we would have done it differently. So think of yourself as the carpenter. Think about your house. Each day you hammer a nail, place a board, or erect a wall. Build it wisely. It is the only life you will ever build. Even if you live it for only one more day, that day deserves to be lived graciously and with dignity. The plaque on the wall says, "Life is a do-it-yourself project." Your life tomorrow will be the result of your attitudes and the choices that you make today. Another word of wisdom: get to know who you are and let others find out who you are. And please be honest in the process. Differentiate. what is important in your life and choose your goals carefully. Thomas Jefferson once said, "Nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. However, nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude." Find out what you're good at and be the best that you can be at it. Find those things that you love and interest you and pursue them. When things are not going right, don't give up. Just try a little harder. Make a difference in your world. Your world needs you. Mother Teresa said, "I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples." Don't become so preoccupied with yourself that you do not think about others. It's a me world. Look at the selfies that are everywhere. No offense, Maria. Perhaps we should do groupies. Actually, that was what that was. It was a groupie, to borrow a term from the 60s. Focus on others. Don't become part of an establishment. Be innovative and pave new ways. Be a trailblazer. You will lead a much richer life for doing so. Believe in yourself and have irrefutable courage. Be of noble and reputable character. Find out what is important to you and work hard to achieve successes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes or even fail. It is a sign that you are growing and getting stronger. 2 stories about that. Milton Hershey started 3 different candy companies in 3 different cities, only to see each of these ventures fail. With his track record, he could not attract loans or investors for his 4th attempt. He barely scraped enough funds to start the Lancaster caramel company. His caramels became so popular that he was able to sell that company in 1901 for $1 million. He then concentrated his energy on his chocolate company. Although chocolate was not a popular candy in America at that time, imagine that. The company became so successful that the town where it was located soon changed its name to honor Hershey chocolates. Another story. The teachers of a hearing-impaired young Thomas Edison labeled him stupid and unteachable. As a child, he accidentally burnt down the family barn. As a young man, he was fired from his first job, working for the railroad company, when his inattentiveness to work resulted in a train derailment. Even though he began his career as an inventor, his work did not earn him any recognition. A British Parliament committee in 1878 described Edison's inventions as unworthy of the attention of practical or scientific men. Asked in his later years about the many detours and roadblocks on his road to success, the famous inventor said, "I never failed once. It, being success, happens to be a 2,000-step process." Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising up every time we do fall." Many people with success stories have achieved their goals only after experiencing a series of difficulties and setbacks. Thomas Edison said, "Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." Accept the truth when it hurts. Be mindful of the needs of others and help those who are less fortunate than you. Be ethical and honest with all of your dealings with other people and continually speak the truth. Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom, spoken by Thomas Jefferson. Giving yourself the freedom to try out new things. Don't become set in your ways that you don't give yourself the latitude to grow. Laugh and have a good time because it is good for the soul. Bring peace to this world with your weapons of math instruction. Live life to the fullest. Try to make the lives of other people and make their lives better. Try to make the lives of other people happy and make their lives better. Treat others with respect, and in turn, they will respect you. Be appreciative of all that you have. Sometimes we just need to remind ourselves that thankfulness is indeed a virtue, from William J. Bennett. Have a good attitude in all things. As far as it depends upon you, remain close to your family and let them be an integral part of your life. In the bio that Chris read, when I sent that to them, I left out my family. Major blunder. My wife and 3 kids are the most important people in my life. Let my mission serve as a reminder to always include them. They're your source in the network and the framework from which you operate. Always allow your family members to be your most important people in your life. Incorporate in your life what makes good, logical sense. And in every situation, do the right thing. And when you find yourself not able to do the right thing anyway. In closing, on January 23rd of this year, Curtis Turner was inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He was a visionary who saw the Concord racetrack before it was even built. His daughter, Margaret Sue Turner Wright, received the NASCAR Hall of Fame inductee ring on behalf of her father, who was from Roanoke and Floyd, Virginia. He was one of the famous and best drivers in all of NASCAR at his time. He was an entrepreneur. One day, her father asked if she wanted to travel to Charlotte, North Carolina. She said she would. She got out on the side of a road. There was this big meadow. And he said, "This is where I'm going to build the best racetrack that has ever been built." All she could see was grass. She could not see what her father saw. He was a visionary in NASCAR sports. The Charlotte Motor Speedway was built in 1959, and their first race was held in June of 1960. But there's another part of this story. Shortly after the Speedway was built, they found themselves in debt. Bruton Smith, the other co-founder of Charlotte Motor Speedway, met with Pepsi Cola in New York in hopes of selling them on a 50-year contract. Pepsi refused the offer. To this day, you will not find any Pepsi sold there. Pepsi had a missed opportunity. But where one misses an opportunity, there is someone else waiting in the wings to pounce on it. There is no big surprise to learn that Coca-Cola picked up the contract and over the years have sold millions of dollars of Coca-Cola at the track. Understand that sometimes the consequences of your actions can hurt, and hurt in a big way. René Descartes, French mathematician and philosopher, said, "An optimist may see a light where there is none, but why must a pessimist always run to blow it out?" And I would add to that, always run to blow out your light. So what is your dream? What are your limits that need to be tested? Figuratively speaking, what big open meadow do you know of where you see something that others do not? What opportunity lies at your door that requires you to make a decision? Have the irrefutable courage to say yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boger. And as we were updated last night in Jake's speech, there were 8 weddings that took place in your class that year, and only 6 have lasted. It gives me great pleasure to introduce this young lady. She is our class of 2016 Early College of Forsyth Valedictorian. She is known to us as Misha Ascano.
You guys, and I hope you continue to embrace the beginnings the future has to offer with kindness, passion, and determination. In closing, remember that today is not only the end, but also the beginning of a whole new part of life. And I am glad I got to spend the past 4 years with this class. So I want to thank the graduates, the class of 2016, for not only being the best class ECF has ever had to offer, but also for being my second family. I love all of you, and I cannot wait to see what all of us will offer the world one day. Thank you.
We will now have our presentation of diplomas by the early college faculty.
Stuti Santosh Agamkar. Reese Simone Anderson. Raleigh Joseph Appert. Marie Stephanie Michelle Valesco Escano. Caitlin Renee Barber. Colin Christopher Bess. Victor Alexander Brown. Michaela Deborah Burcham. Jasmine Cerrone. Anthony Nia Chow. Frederick Stevens Cook III. Maria Isabel Cristobal Cruzat. Valerie Anastasia de Gloria. Jonathan Ephraim Flores. Tiamat Onby Fox.
Misako Takizawa Stanaland. Jake Lazaro Gelati. Patricia Monique Glenn. Victoria Jessica Joy Gray. Trisha Pearl D. Gregorio. Christopher Andrew Hinton. Christian Tyler Johnson. Canaria Danielle Jones. Ino Angelo Jamawid. Christopher Andre Maiku. Tyler Clay Miller. Alexandra Maria Mitchell. Colin Thomas Mitsuo Nakagawa. Krishna Deepak Patel.
Vicente James Caballero Perez. Kaylin Denise Reese. Jonathan Alexander Rico. Christian Rivera. Milady Iris Robinson. Janai Anthony Ross. Lily Patricia Sobavaro. Kelia Monet Spurgeon. Thomas Frederick Norris Steyerwalt. Dylan Clark Talley. Megan Christine Tamer. Nicholas Zachary Tolpe. Catherine Gay Ward. Andrew Charles Warren. Logan Benjamin Willis.
Upon the recommendation of the administration, faculty, and staff of the Early College of Forsyth, and by the power vested in the Winston-Salem Forsyth County School Board of Education, I confer upon you your high school diploma with all of the rights, responsibilities, and honors. Congratulations, class of 2015. (2016).
And now, graduates, please rise. When I say now, it will be time to turn your tassels from your right side to your left side. If you ever forget what side your tassel goes on, just remember that you wear it on your left side, over your heart, to remember ECF. Now. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean.
Staff and graduates, this is it. Today marks the end of Ardmore hallways, the end of leisure time at the fountain, the end of school trips to Raven Knob.
Carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. I love you guys.
Your procrastination. But even with all of these ends, today marks the beginning of our independence, our accountability for ourselves for once, the beginning of life outside of Winston for some, the beginning of soul searching and